Hi again. So the President of the Philippines, Rodrigo Duterte, has had another episode of strong and offensive words for his US counterpart, Barack Obama. In his latest statement, he ordered all American special forces out of the south of his country, where they've been advising local troops battling terror groups. But of course, he did it in his own special way. Duterte claimed the island's Muslim population would be angered by the presence of US soldiers on the ground, even saying the troops will be attacked or worse, killed by locals. And the rather non-official approach to diplomacy from the Philippines leader is becoming somewhat of a trend when dealing with Washington too, of course, of late.
Usap namin si Kerry. Okay naman siya kasi nag-away kami nung ambasador niya. Yung ambasador yung buisit ako dyan. So that Kerry pumunta dito, nagkain kami. Iniwanan pa kami ni si Delphi ng $33 million. Okay to Bastusin natin uli para magreglo itong buang nito. You must be respectful. Don't not just throw away questions and statements. Urahin kita dyan sa forum na yan.
The US didn't respond to the insults from Manila for some time, but then President Obama said this.
I have seen some of those colorful statements in the past, and so clearly he's a colorful guy.
The Philippines is one of Washington's oldest military allies in Asia, worth bearing in mind, with some 5 bases present in the country. And that's not mentioning bilateral trade involving billions of dollars. For more on what Duterte's most recent statement might mean for relations, bearing in mind what was already said around the G20, we can cross live to Joseph Cheng, a political analyst from Hong Kong City University, looking on intently. Yeah, hardly diplomatic language time and time again, is it? I mean, do you agree, though, with the Philippine president that the presence of US special forces is only going to worsen the fight with local terror groups on the island? Does he have a fair point?
Well, there is all the time a considerable segment of the Filipino society which does not want to see the stationing of US forces in the Philippines. So President Duterte obviously is appealing to nationalism and to this position. It seems that he is trying to gain popularity and support through a popular nationalist stand. At the same time, it seems that he doesn't want to depend too much on the United States for the country's security, in contrast to his predecessor. He probably wants to initiate negotiations with Beijing on the territorial dispute, with the intention of improving economic ties between the two countries, as well as perhaps seeking economic aid from Beijing.
But I wonder how long the US itself can turn a blind eye to remarks like that. Surely they're not going to allow the Philippines to keep insulting and threatening the US. I mean, they've had a base there, or bases there, for so long. They're not just going to let that key little part of Asia and their influence on it just flitter away to China, are they?
I think the Obama administration wants to avoid an open quarrel with his Filipino counterpart, which will do only damage to the reputation of the administration. At the same time, we certainly understand that in November there is a presidential election in the United States, and to a considerable extent, the Obama administration is already named up in terms of foreign policy initiatives.
Who's pushing this spat? Are you saying it's the American side that's pushing this spat, or it's Manila that's pushing this spat, this war of words?
I think it is Manila. The new president certainly wants to establish his identity, his position in foreign policy, in contrast to his predecessor, and also in terms of his popular nationalist stand.
So do you think Mr. Duterte might calm it down a little bit when there's a new person sitting in the White House early next year?
Well, in the Philippines and probably throughout the East Asia region, people are concerned with the rising isolationism in the United States, as reflected by the fairly popular appeal of the candidate Donald Trump. There is also a concern whether the U.S. financial situation will allow the United States to to maintain a strong economic and military presence in the region.
OK, thanks for your thoughts. Of course, worth bearing in mind as well, it was not just the Obama administration on the receiving end of those undiplomatic words, also the Pope most recently as well. OK, Joseph Cheng, political analyst. We'll come back to you, I'm sure, in the fullness of time to get a bit more perspective on this as it develops, or not, as the case may be. Thanks for now.
Thank you.
Next.